This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
Nope.
This
Just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Thursday. Everybody looking good and beautiful and bright.
Feeling good.
Yeah. Feeling good, Lewis.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We just did it.
Feeling good. What's the line?
Looking good, Billy Ray.
Trading places.
Come on, come
I
on.
haven't seen Trading Places in a long time. I feel bad.
I know. We just did that earlier this week. Let's get to this story because it's way more important. We're starting today with the death of a man many people would call infamous, notorious, but also who was once beloved. We're talking about OJ Simpson, of course. He died at the age of 76 after a battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. America fell in love with OJ, who was a star running back for 11 seasons in the NFL before transitioning to broadcasting and acting, and he made his name in a movie, or as a movie star in the Naked Gun films, of course. Hilarious in these films. But 30 years ago in 1994, America came to a standstill watching his white Ford Bronco lead police on a 60-mile slow-speed car chase through Los Angeles. You could flash that up for a second and everybody would know exactly what that was. The next year, he went on trial for the murder of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman in a televised trial that captivated and divided the nation. OJ, of course, was acquitted. So what do you guys all remember? There's so many images and characters and storylines when you think of the OJ trials.
As a sports fan, I thought about like how my uncles and father thought about him.
Right.
And it's hard to even have this conversation without realizing how famous of a person he was. He was a star at USC and a star in the NFL, 2,000 yards rushing. So he had that kind of mantle where back when sports was everything to at least half of this country, he represented that.
Yeah.
And to see his downfall, it just brought all these other things to light that were right underneath the surface. You think about the way, people were feeling about the LAPD, the characters that came out of this trial. The Kardashians, in a weird way, came from this trial because
He was their godfather. Did you know that?
Yeah.
OJ Simpson was Kim's godfather.
Right, and think about like the cultural impact the Kardashians have made, no matter how you feel about them. They all of this stuff came from this trial. So when we start talking about like, oh yeah, that killer left his DNA, that was first mentioned with this case. Before this, cases were like gumshoe. Right. And now, like, this was like the first time that technology came in, but it wasn't really accepted by people because they didn't know what it was.
Yeah, the one thing I took, you took sports, I took the legal aspect. Because I would talk about it with my dad all the time and realize he was saying Marsha Clark, the prosecutor, would go on and on and on in detail. And we learned later it would sort of bore the jurors because DNA was sort of new and they were introducing the science. But there was so much evidence. I mean, there was so much evidence. There was gloves, there was blood, there was so much evidence.
There was his blood.
His blood, and the jurors just did not accept all of that information. And I think there was also a lot of racial connotations to this that really affected. I remember the verdict and seeing a lot of white people very, very crying and really upset, and a lot of African American students like really, really happy. That was a really confusing sort of moment in racial politics. And then I also remember domestic violence because Nicole Brown had been beaten by this man over and over, and I listened to the 911 calls, and she would say it like this: "You know who this is. Come on, guys. It's OJ's wife again. He's beating me again. You guys do nothing every time." He would go to just anger management and nothing would happen. And what I believe happened is I believe he killed her. He almost decapitated her. He thoroughly
We got it.
Yeah, so I just want to let people know it wasn't just like a funny pop culture moment. It was also a moment for domestic violence. So that should be brought up.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we were all very young during the OJ
even
verdict. I mean, I was a freshman when the verdict in high school when the verdict came out.
I was a freshman in college, Old Man River.
Really?
Yeah.
I was 8th grade.
I'm 46.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean,
Tori's not
we
looking
were
at me
young.
like I'm an old tree on the pasture.
Okay, Groot.
But anyway, the point is, we were young and we were learning about how the world works in a lot of ways. And I do remember seeing the image that you were referring to, where it was like, the all-white crowd versus the all-black crowd, very different responses. But I also remembered personally, it was a very much more nuanced take than that.
Right.
And because I lived in a world where remember in high school, I was in a high school that was like 95% white, and then the church that I attended was 100% black.
Wow.
And those conversations were very different. And the conversations in church, and when people would mention it, were far more nuanced, because you had people who felt as though, you know, why should we care about this verdict or if he was found not guilty when white men have been getting away with these things since the inception of the U.S. Then you had other people who felt like he absolutely wasn't guilty. Then other people who felt like OJ wasn't really black, you know? So the conversations were so much bigger, and it makes me think about social media in general, because would things have been very different for OJ Simpson if he was the curator of his own story? Because the moment that social media became a thing, and the moment that we were able to become curators of our own stories, we started seeing who OJ was, that people have been saying he was the entire time, and he didn't try to hide it. And I really question, if social media were a thing back then, if we would have seen or had more context to who OJ actually was before any of this stuff.
I think if social media was a thing back then, the general audience would have been more educated about everything.
100%.
I think that's what would have changed the case. I think people would have known what DNA was. You would have just heard, there would have been a hashtag glove conspiracy, hashtag LA police corrupt. And so you could go down these rabbit holes and educate yourself a little bit more. But I think people forget, back then it was the newspaper and what your uncle said.
No.
So it was, you didn't know things.
And I agree with that. I think my point about the social media aspect is that OJ had the benefit of living in a celebrity was king time. And a lot of people got away with a lot of things. You know, you got one dimensions of people because it was more important to protect the legacy that, quite frankly, impacted and benefited a lot of other people around them.
Yes.
So it was important that people saw people like OJ in a certain way, because that legacy would influence, you know, it would influence the university he went to, the teams he played for, the Hall of Fame, all of the movies.
Right.
And there was a way to do that. But the moment that we became the curators of our stories, people become a lot more complex.
I think a perfect example of that, Erica, and I want to see what you think about that is Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, during that era of no social media, there were these rumors. No one said anything. It was very hush-hush.
When she said that, I was thinking Playboy Mansion, Bill Cosby,
Harvey
OJ
Weinstein.
Simpson.
I was thinking of Weinstein.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And as soon as social media came around, that was no longer. And I had this weird thought, and I want to throw it at you guys. I hope this isn't offensive, but I really had this thought this morning when I heard this story. And this is like, I feel like OJ was the last time that you could be rich enough to kill your wife. Because if you look at all these celebrities, they all have like weird missing wives.
Can still be rich enough to kill your wife.
But no, you can. But there will be a lot more scrutiny. There's not just like, oh yeah, his first wife died under mysterious circumstances. If you look at a lot of famous people, there's a lot of like young women that just went missing or just never were heard from, and it was just like, that's weird. And I don't think that you could do that anymore. I think social media and other things started to take that bank vault thick wall of celebrity and thinned it out a little bit so you can get to some of these guys. But I think before then, I don't think there were any rules.
Well, to that point, there's an organization called SIS, is Suffering in Silence. So if you are suffering in silence, there is help out there for you for domestic violence situations.
Great way to end it. Coming up on DBL, did Sylvester Stallone behave badly on set? We're talking with the beauty expert all about how to get your skin glowing for spring. Welcome back. Paramount Studios is looking into claims that Sylvester Stallone behaved badly on the set of Tulsa King. So the studio's allegations came from social media posts that said Sly called some extras on the set, quote, ugly. He also allegedly called one guy a tub of lard and another a fat guy with a cane. He was also allegedly overheard saying, bring in some pretty girls to be around me. But the director and executive producer told TMZ they never heard Sly insulting anyone. The casting agent allegedly quit because the set was quote unquote toxic, but the actors union says it hasn't received any specific complaints about Sly's behavior.
Maybe
Shocking.
he's being sly about it.
That was all right.
Yeah, she was sitting on that one. That's okay.
I got some. I could go either. I got some thoughts.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think he said that. I think it's not giving him excuses for anything, but I think it's a generational thing. I think 20 years ago, Sly was the man. We're talking about celebrity, and he could say those things, and nobody blinked an eye. Right now, it's very different. You have to separate yourself with regular people, and when I say regular people, extras on set. When you're Sylvester Stallone, if you're going to have that attitude towards life, maybe you can't have those extras because they're looking for a name. They're not doing anything and they're looking for a name. So I'm going to get whatever I can and throw Sylvester Stallone on a bus and maybe I'll get a little bit of notoriety here. There's where I'm coming from on the other side.
I'm sorry, Eric. I just wanted to say this real quick. Or mentally, like if you're saying that to a 23-year-old extra, they might not be ready for that.
They don't even know who you probably
like,
are.
I think if you said that to a 54-year-old extra, it'd be like, the same thing happened to me.
What if you go like this? Me and you are talking, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old and fat, Al. Man, I miss the old days. And then like some extras come in, I'm like, I need some pretty girls to make me feel good about. You know, like you're saying something in conversation, and an extra walks in and takes it out of context. Now you're that guy. That's why my circle's tight. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the thing. I believe he said it.
Yeah.
I do believe he said it.
Yes.
I also agree. He said it.
We all agree. We all agree.
But here's the thing. People act like just because the world changed, people are obligated to change with it. They not. And so, I mean, especially to younger generations, y'all have to be ready for that too. I commend people for being, diligent with the idea that the world is changing and I'm going to be a part of the change that I want to see. But you're not going to be able to change everybody. And you're going to have a Sylvester Stallone who's going to say some stuff. It's going to be sideways. And it's going to be, what are you going to do about it? Because at the end of the day, he has made a decision. He knows the world has changed. He don't care. So now what's your move? And so I really encourage people to stop getting so stuck in this like mud hole of like, well, and this is how it's supposed to be, because you don't have control over other people. And at the end of the day, Sylvester Stallone isn't going to lose his livelihood because he said that somebody was overweight and he wants a pretty girl. Is it the right thing to do? No. But who going to do something about it? And even if they do, what's the end game? He going to lose his house? He going to lose his car? He gonna lose anything he's ever gotten. So we gotta figure out a way to control ourselves and stop trying to control other people.
Dang, I should have just went with you right away. I shouldn't even have talked. We'll be right back. We're ending on that. Slow clap.
Welcome back. The weather is a shiftin', which means your skincare and beauty routine should too. And earlier, we spoke with new beauty editor at large, Sarah Eggenberger, about how we should tweak for warm weather. Just a tweak. Check it out. Sarah, welcome to DBL. Yes.
Hi, hello. Good to see you all.
With warmer weather ahead, I want to know what we should be bringing into our skincare routines.
Yeah, so as you can tell, like the weather is adjusting, right? I recognize that you all are in Colorado, so you see the sun all the time. But really what we're experiencing is longer days of sun. And so with that, our skin is exposed to what is called free radicals. So sun does make us happier, but it also is going to expose us to free radicals, which is what ultimately ages our skin. And so we want to try to minimize that as much as possible. And so introducing things like vitamin C and antioxidant, which is great to use in the morning. I recommend that as like the cornerstone of any anti-aging program, and just really helps to protect your skin.
Fight those free radicals. Fight them. Get away from me,
Fight
radicals.
those free radicals.
Ouch.
Okay. Follow up?
Okay, sorry. What should I be, other than this toss, what should I be throwing away?
That's a good question. So look at your sunscreens. First things first. Let's do some spring cleaning. Make sure that you are fresh on your sunscreens. Your sunscreens from last summer, do not cut it anymore. You need to get rid of all of those old sunscreens because they do expire after a year. And then also look to any of your other products. If you've had a product open for 6 months to a year, it's probably starting to lose its efficacy. It might smell, it might not look so good, it might start to separate. And so just check out any products you've had like in your drawer, in your cabinet that you have not used in 6 months to a year. Check it out, check those expiration dates, toss it if you have not used it. You know, things like mascara. Mascara expires after 6 months. You have to be super careful with that. But just even your creams and your lotions, even your cleansers, just make sure you kind of get rid of it. And then you want to introduce a little bit of a softer side of skincare.
So let's talk about makeup, because we all know our skin changes as we get older. So how should we adjust our beauty routine?
So when it comes to your makeup, you want to kind of move into like the lighter things of summer. And so you really want to go with like a lightweight, maybe even like a tinted sunscreen moisturizer. This is what I love from Supergoop. It's going to give you a little bit of tint so you get this real seamless color, but then you're also going to get your sun protection too, which is a nice way to incorporate it into your morning. So things that are much more lightweight, that will not crease, that will not melt under the hot sun, and things that are just a little bit more natural looking. Even brights of, you know, bright pinks are really kind of fun. This is a great Patrick Ta product.
Oh,
I love this because the pink is really pretty. It's actually a cream and a powder. So cream kind of gives you that lit from within glow. The powder just helps it to stay in place, but really kind of some fun colors. And you can put this on your cheeks, on your eyes even, and then a little bit on your lips to kind of create this monochromatic, easy, go with the flow, no makeup kind of look.
I love that. Okay, so we have about a minute left, and I know that our routines should be different depending on the climate where we live. What should we be doing if we live somewhere really dry, like here in Denver, or somewhere with high humidity?
Yeah, so if you're in high humidity, you want to use things like humectants, because humectants are going to pull the moisture from the air to your skin. When you're in dry climates, you want to be more careful of humectants because they're actually going to pull the moisture from your skin to try to hydrate. And so it can actually dry out your skin. In places like Colorado or Arizona, or where it's a drier climate, you want to use more of your occlusives. You're trying to trap that moisture in your skin. So things that are going to be more of a thicker consistency. I love this Ultraceuticals Ultra Calming Cream because it's going to be super hydrating, but also calming to the skin. Now, if you do need to adjust because you're in an environment that the humidity level increases by 14%, which is a lot, just think if you're to gain 14% every summer, then you want to really like step down in terms of what you're layering on your skin, because you could get like product peeling or just breakouts, congestion. So go to more like your gels or your lightweight lotions for your moisturizers.
Great.
And then same thing with your cleansers, probably more like your gel cleansers versus your thick, creamier balms and cream cleansers.
Very important information and little adjustments, right?
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you so much
just
for
a little tweak.
Yeah, little tweaks. Thank you for being here and helping us get ready for summer. We are ready. To our viewers, you can get more information on all things beauty and brands at newbeauty.com or a New Beauty magazine. Thank you again. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
come back. We've got some great products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out.
Steph, what do you have for us today?
Oh, look at this. First up, we've got the Shark One Vac 3-in-1 cordless stick vacuum at just £2.
What?
This lightweight vacuum can easily go from cleaning your floors to capturing crumbs in the car. And you'll be cleaning with one of the most trusted names in household appliances, and we've got this at an amazing price. Normally, this is $270.
Okay, I mean, I get it.
We've got this for $139.99. It's saving you guys 44%. Next up is the Brilliant Diamonds 1/10 carat TW Halo Cushion Earring.
Yay!
This doorbuster deal includes one pair of earrings. They are beautiful cushion-shaped earrings that are centered with a square diamond cluster surrounded by a diamond halo. The doorbuster deals are popular. There's a limit of 3 per customer. Normally, this is $149.
Normal for diamonds,
We've
right?
got it for $15, Tori. That's saving 90%. $15.
What?
Up next, we've got the 6-pack Meraki Small Soy Wax Candles. With 6 candles in this deal, you can place them in different rooms around your house, and each candle can burn up to 12 hours.
Ooh.
Normally, these are $15 each.
Okay.
We've got a 6-pack for $18, which is saving 80%.
Ooh, I love candles.
And then last but not least today, we've got the Beckham Hotel Collection Lightweight Down Alternative Comforter. It's got a breathable fill which regulates temperature for a more restful sleep all year long. Plus, the comforter is fade resistant, stain resistant and machine washable. Normally, these are between $41 to $60.
Okay.
However, we have got this for $19.99, which is saving 67%.
Machine washable is key, guys.
Oh, so true.
Huge.
Especially with allergy season and the shedding right now. Great point, Tori.
I can't believe all these prices. All right, guys, head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices, or just scan that QR code on screen to take you directly to these products on Morning Save's website. Then do your little dance and save your money. Thank you so much, Steph.
Tori, do you have a saving money dance?
You don't know about it?
No.
You start with
Jeff, why would you do that?
Because we had some time.
Yeah.
So you just start with a little bit of shoulder. You start, what is that? Is that a good deal? And then you get both shoulders in. Oh my God, is that 50% off? Then you get your head. Let me see
What
that.
happened? What happened if it's a BOGO? Buy one, get one.
Then you do the elbows.
There's our credibility right there. And I saw it going downhill. And I was like, oh,
And then
this
you
might
get
be the last.
the hips.
You just pull the string on Tori and she goes. Let's see you tomorrow.
Woo!